Hello, essay writers. Welcome to week 7. This week you have turned in an analytical essay, which means that at this point you have done 3 different types of essay. I thought it would be great if we reviewed the 3 types of essay we have talked about, because next week, week 8, you will be handing in an essay of your choice. So let's go over those 3 types. We have worked with a narrative essay, persuasive essay, and an analytical essay. All 3 essays, we've been working with the basic 5-paragraph format, which means regardless of what kind of essay you're writing, there's an introduction, there are 3 body paragraphs at least, and there's a conclusion. The way these different paragraphs work is a little different from essay to essay. For instance, with the personal narrative, it's a story, and so in your introduction, you're not simply giving background. You might be, but that's not required. You don't have to go in chronological order. As we talked about, you can begin at the beginning of the story. You can start in the middle and then explain. You can do the same thing. Give the ending and then go back and walk us through the story. The purpose of that first paragraph in a personal narrative is to hook the reader's interest. Get them interested in your story so they want to keep reading. And you might give them a little hint of what the story is going to be about overall, so that when you get to the end, you have come full circle, which is always the goal, to bring it back around with the essay. In a persuasive essay, instead of beginning a story, you are probably arguing a particular side of an issue that has at least 2 sides. It might have more. Has to have at least 2 sides that can be seen so that it is something that can be argued. You will give the basic background of the particular issue that you're discussing and then state your thesis, which is your belief, the position you are arguing with the paper. In an analytical essay, in that introduction, it's very similar. You will be analyzing a particular work. So in that first paragraph, the introduction, you explain the work you're analyzing. Make sure that your reader knows enough about what it is you are writing about that they can read the essay and get some meaning from it. And then, like the persuasive essay, you state your thesis at the end of that introduction. Now, after the introduction, with all of these, you move on to your body paragraphs. Again, with the narrative, you're telling a story, and so it's very much like a fictional story, except that it's true. But it has that same kind of story arc, or as we talked about, Freytag's pyramid, where you are building toward a climax in these body paragraphs. So whether you started at the beginning, the middle, or the end, in the body, you are bringing us up that slope to reach the climax of the story. In a persuasive essay, it's totally different. You're not building toward a climax or anything. You're not doing that in an analytical essay either. In the persuasive essay, your 3 body paragraphs are your 3 reasons or your 3 arguments, 3 paragraphs of evidence that support your thesis statement. Each one starts with a topic sentence that is supported by details. Each topic sentence is a reason that supports your thesis. In the analytical essay, you can do it a couple of different ways. You can either be going through something like a poem or a song and analyzing it line by line. And I say line by line, but you don't have to do every line. That gets a bit monotonous. So you pick out the key points that will support your thesis statement, and you analyze those piece by piece. So you either go piece by piece to interpret, or one piece of evidence after another to support your thesis. If you're saying a major theme in this novel is that, I think I said last week, humans have the capacity for both good and evil, then your 3 paragraphs are going to be evidence from the novel that support that thesis. So in both the persuasive and the analytical, the body paragraphs are essentially evidence to support your thesis. Now, when you get to the conclusion functions a little bit differently for each of these essays also. In your narrative, if you haven't reached the end of the story, you've probably reached the climax, but if you haven't wrapped it up and the 3rd body paragraph, You can add extra body paragraphs if you need to. If you have not wrapped it up in the body, the first part of your conclusion will wrap up the story, and then you will make sure you let us know, why is the story important? What did you learn? What changed? How is it different now? What did you get out of this? Why do you remember this story? And that's your conclusion for the narrative. In the persuasive essay, and the analytical is very similar. In the persuasive, you summarize your 3 reasons and restate your thesis in different words. In the analytical essay, you recap the key points of your analysis and restate your thesis in slightly different words. So in both the persuasive essay and the analytical essay, the conclusion is your final chance to really hammer it home and say, this is what I'm arguing, this is what I'm interpreting, this is why I know it's right. Summarizing and restating right here. So that covers the basic structure of all 3 essays. Now, for next week, you can choose to complete any kind of essay. And if you'd like to try something outside of what we have done, that is also fine. Just give me a heads up as to what it is, or I can try to identify what sort of essay you have written. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that I do not have all the essays from everybody at this point. So as of Sunday, April 28th, I have commented on and sent back to you everything I've received. So if you think you have submitted something and you haven't heard back from me, I don't have it. Submit it again. If you are behind in the essays and you are overwhelmed by the idea of trying in this week to complete a new one, then perhaps your goal for the week should be to finish the first 3. Or if you've only gotten 1 in, to get the second one done. Set a realistic goal for yourself. I'd much prefer that you get me 2 essays completed by the end of this class than that you give up at this point and say, I'm too far behind, I can't possibly catch up, what's the point? So give yourself a realistic goal. Remember, the point of this class is to improve at writing essays. And so customize it. Get what you need out of the class. You will get out of the class what you put into the class. So try to, give so you can get. At this point, wherever you are, good luck in this final-ish week. Next week there will be one last assignment. It is week 8 though, which is our last week. So do what you can to get yourself up to date. Set a realistic goal. Dig deep. Work hard. No pain, no gain. Insert whatever inspirational cliche you would like here and get to it. Here are your week's assignments. Take care.